Man, I just want to gush about Superman real quick because I fucking love him so much. Because I'm just a straight up, just pure optimist. Like at the heart, there's people who are nihilists, and I'm like people who are like super negative. You know, I went through periods in my life where I'm just like, okay, yeah, self deprecation. You know, jokes and all the time. Like what? That's just shit that everybody's into. But fucking like at the end of the day, I'm like, nah, I think good things are gonna happen. You know, I was brought up religious. You know, like like Five Dog said, I grew up as a Christian, so to Jah I give thanks. But rest in peace. But yeah, it's just like that. Like that's at the core of my being. Everybody has their own perspective, the way they were brought up into like the world and their understandings of it. And that's one reason I like about Superman is like because his earthly mother, he's obviously a messianic figure, but like his Earth mother is like he loves her. You know, I love the bit of lore that pops up sometimes where it's like, oh, that's his suit. His mom made that suit for him and stuff like that. Like I love that because he's so relatable. You know, I can't relate to being a billionaire playboy philanthropist. You know, I can't relate to that. So, but like being like a dude from like another planet. You know, and plus like if like because there's racial shit to that too. Because it's like I could that shit's ingrained in my life. So it's like the reason why I like Superman is because of these things and the fact that in the fucking Knuckles fucking thing, Knuckles is Superman. I'm like yes, that's that shit I'm on because I'm like Knuckles is my boy. Because if you don't know, Knuckles is like the deepest fucking most thoughtful character in Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, like that I'm like I'm like, dude, the movies and shit, they just like, oh, that he's known as the muscle. I'm like, no, the character assassination of my boy. Like, I was wearing a Sonic shirt. This is a tangent, but I'm putting a pin in it. I'm gonna come back to the Superman shit because it's like fucking. But anyway, I was at Albertsons the other day. I was getting my groceries. I was wearing my Sonic shirt, and not this one. It was, I think it just had Sonic on it or whatever. It might have been Knuckles. It might have been my Knuckles hoodie. I was probably wearing my Knuckles hoodie. Yeah, I was wearing my Knuckles hoodie. Um, where did I see that? The Parappa hoodie and the. So if you don't know, like hell yes. Shout out to the video game characters that are obviously black. Shout out to those two because they're literally intertwined because Parappa's voice actor the fucking did the rap parts of the knock knock his knuckles, the blow thrower, independent flower, magical emerald holder, give you the coldest shoulder. My spike goes through boulders. That's why I stay a loner. I was born by myself. I don't need a pot to get it on by myself. Adversaries get shelved. I always loved that how the Chow Garden like completion music at the end of Sonic Adventure 2 just oddly sounded like the end of Unknown from ME, the Sonic Adventure 1 version. But anyways, all this come to say I know where I'm at. I'm not losing my train of thought. I'm just hopping a different train, different cars in that bitch. But so yeah, he was like yeah, so that's the fool that said that quote at the beginning when I was talking about like, oh, like Knuckles, like, oh yeah, Knuckles, oh yeah, he was like the movie, the Sonic 3 movie. He's like, oh, my kids have just seen that. Like he didn't say it about his kids, but he was like, that's just what I assumed. He's like, yeah, he's like, I'm trying to keep up on what's like happening, what's out now or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And part of me wanted to be because I really used to be like, nah, like if you go talk about this shit, you gotta come with all the you gotta be on my level. So, but I just didn't say nothing. I didn't want to like do a fucking 10-minute video like I'm doing right now talking about this shit where I'm like, nah, dude, I have a lot to say about fucking Sonic the Hedgehog and like all those characters and shit, like a lot. And it's just like, it's not just like a ooh, whatever thing to be like that. This shit is like, goddamn, I love this shit. But anyway, I say all this to say because like Sonic is just like a pure optimist and stuff, and he's really like Superman in just a lot of ways. Just, he's always gonna do like the right thing, just no matter what. And like that's why anytime I see like dark Superman adaptations, it's just like that shit just rubs me the wrong way. That shit feels like if you ever call your mom by her first name, that shit's fucking weird. Like do that shit out loud and like or call her and do that shit. that just feels wrong for me. It's like, yeah, maybe like once or twice as a joke, but it's like, bro, if you doing that shit all the time, it's like, what the fuck. But that's just how I was raised, But anyway, much respect from my mama, much love, and so anyway, character assassination of Knuckles. I was gonna tell that dude, like, dude, no, Knuckles is a whole lot more. Look up his, and I tell everybody, like, his ending video from Sonic Adventure 1, where he's sitting at the Master Emerald altar just contemplating his existence, and like the fact that he's the only one of his people that's like survived, and like like I don't know. Sometimes that's how I be feeling, like, with my own family, because they don't have the same perspective as the world I do, except for my cousin. Shouts to him, but like they don't have like the exact same perspective of the world as I do. So it's so sometimes I be feeling like Knuckles. And I'm just like, yeah, like they exist in like the Tikal form, like their spirit is there, but they're not fully corporeal. Or does corporeal mean abstract? Well, whatever. They're not like fully like present, like there with me, able to do the same things that I am. You know, that's what I feel, because I see things that I'm like, dude, it would be nice to. Anyway, all right. So back to Superman. So yeah, he's fucking great. Um, he his mom made the suit for him. Love that shit. The fact that, so yeah, he's a messianic figure, but he's also a figure that like that's supposed to speak to you. It's like, oh yeah, because we're supposed to be, as followers of Christ, we're supposed to try to be like him and have his qualities, and like the way we interact with humans should be reminiscent of the way that he did, you know, and just being, that's what I think basic human decency is, that's my, just be kind to people, fucking act like a real person, and not like, oh, I'm too tired, I'm too drained from work, so I'm not gonna say hello to you. I'm not gonna fucking extend my, do the smallest amount of effort to make another human being feel like recognized in the world. But I don't know. I just think that's weird. So that's why I'm kind of like hoping that, like, the the next half, because I feel like changes like happening in my own life. Just I am making steps towards that change, towards those changes. So like there's positive changes happening in my life because I'm doing things like I'm exercising like daily. Taking like I'm taking like cold showers, and like because I notice like my thought patterns, like before a cold shower and after a cold shower versus a warm shower. Before and after is like warm shower, my mind feels like it just turns to mush, because I'm just like, oh, let me just sit in here with the warmth, and it's like, all right, and then I get out of it and it's like, damn, this really sucks. Versus like, and I'll like there'll be times where like I'll just be in my head, like I'll be just like going over like all my anxious thoughts, and I'm like, dude, I think I just watched this part of my body like 5 times, so I'm not even like fully embraced, like engrossed in the present moment. Versus when you take a cold shower, you're like, I'm trying to do what I need to do to get out of this bitch, So it's like that's kind of the mindset you should have, like with all the shit that you're doing, like not fall too much into just like trappings to make your shit easier, like, like I'm just gonna indulge, like I'm just gonna have my junk food, or I'm just gonna fucking bust a nut, and just like, oh, I know I got laundry to do, but I don't want to do that shit right when I get home. Like, start putting like your mom or somebody, whoever was an authoritative figure in your head, and be like, no, you need to get your shit together, you need to do that shit. It's like, you fucking right, it's like I come home, I don't want to do the dishes like right after I eat, but it's like, damn, who else gonna do the dishes? Like, nobody else is gonna do the dishes. And it's like, I could probably figure out, I don't use the dishwasher, I do that shit by hand, but it's still, I'm a person where it's just technology shit is, I see it as part of like a way to, like, all the AI shit, you're literally just enslaving your mind. You're not opening you're literally admitting, like, okay, my mind is tapped. I'm tapped out. I can't create anything more than what's already been said. Anything that I have to add isn't worth any type of value. So like, I don't be fucking with none of that shit. Like, and like, people can do whatever they want with their lives, but like me personally, I literally like I bought like the fucking complete works of Shakespeare. So I'm like, dude, let me like I need to start like activating like my brain and shit again because I remember being in high school. Not everything was great, but I had a pretty decent education. Like my mind was definitely being stimulated properly, you know. And that's the thing that I think, dude. I'm going on a tangent. I'm supposed to be talking about Superman, but that's the reality of this shit. You know, this is where we get our real life superpowers and stuff, and this is in our fucking mind. You know, like the really like the way that I'm able to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna go. It's 6 a.m. All right, time to hop in that cold shower, go running for a fucking hour in the fucking blazing heat, and then come back, take another cold shower, go to work. You know, and then it's just like, yeah, like I do that shit like it's fucking nothing, and like that's something that like that I can feel good about. So it's like, dude, nothing else. No matter what else happened during the day, when I had control over my time, when I wasn't being forced into this type of slavery that we are currently in as humanity, you know, oh, the fact that we have to work or you put out on the street and there's no real exception. It's either you either work for somebody or you die, you know, and like you could break it out and get easy, but um and get it easy and be like a YouTuber or some shit. But I'm just like, dude, I don't know. I I want to just have my channel to where I can document joy and also talk about the shit that I would be talking with my cousin that I shouted out before. That I'm like, bro, like when he was like, you know, he was living with me for like almost a year. We had like so many points where we were just on the same wavelength. It was great to be able to talk to him about deep shit like this, like character analysis, and we could talk about like, yeah, I like this character because this part, and this relates to this part of my life, and such a thing. Like you're not able to get that with a lot of people, you know, who I don't know. It's like I said, like the Tikals in my family is like they're not really like all there with like the media literacy and stuff, and I'm like, dude, this shit's important because I'm like, I don't know, trying to understand the way the world works and stuff, and I don't know, just so Superman, he's great. Um, like I said, he's an optimist. That I started this like that's one of my key points is optimism, keeping up. Like even though some say, you know, we're in the start of the Third World War, and it's like, yeah, it's like at this point it's like, yeah, fucking these are like, dude, this shit's rough, and I'm glad that this movie is coming out a week after, you know, this cursed day. Um, yeah, but I'm excited to go see that shit. Uh, I haven't loved Superman my whole life. I was never like, I mean, I my attention was elsewhere. So like when my cousin came over, like that was like something that we want because he's more into like the Western nerddom shit, the Star Wars, the fucking superhero bullshit, and um, so I'm like I always like admired that shit. So I'm like I'm trying to find a way to like I wanted to like be able to connect with him on a deep level, on at his level and stuff. Um, so yeah, the Superman animated series is like my main like that's where most of my Superman shit is at. Um, from the '90s, from when I was born. Um, it's really excellent. I've seen a couple of the '20s one, or like the '40s like cartoon. Like that shit is tight too. Back when like I don't know if yeah, but just I have a couple of them shits on VHS actually, but yeah, just like he's always gonna do the right thing and he's always gonna win at the end, and it's just like bro, and you know he's in his like personal life too. He's not like a dick, you know, like he's not like Bruce Wayne and his history with women and stuff. Especially when we're looking at the animated series, I'm just calling that fool out, pedo, just straight up. That shit was totally inappropriate, bro. With your fucking basically coworkers, your colleagues, like y'all could have been like y'all could have grown up on the same block together, and then you were banging his daughter, bro, like, and he was telling Terry Bogard about that shit, and he's just Terry Bogard. Terry McGinnis. He was telling Terry McGinnis about that shit. And he's just like, bro, like the fuck? But it's like, hey, that's what that shit's like, bro. You ever talk to some old men? Fucking dudes were freaks. But anyway, I say all this. My other point about Superman that I really wanted to make was the fact that he's like a messianic figure, yes, but he's not like that universe's equivalent of Jesus, because he comes from like he's like, because there's like the bad Kryptonians, and it's just like Kryptonians get their strength from like the fact that they were brought up different. They come from they were brought up in a different environment. So it's their upbringing basically that makes them who they are. Because it's like, oh yeah, when Zod and when fucking Mala and that one dude that's supposed to be Zod from the TAS comes in, and then it's like, dude, yeah, anytime any other Kryptonian show up, they have the powers and stuff too. So it's like, I like that it's like everybody can have this power, this willpower that we all possess, but because of consumerism, individuality, and like all this shit, like seeing the world in like a purely economic lens, with during our every waking moment is truly fucked. It's truly evil, bro. That shit is truly like slavery of the mind. But yeah, I was just journaling, and then I got the urge to speak because I can speak quickly. I can speak quicker than I can write, and I think it's really important to do both, especially because I noticed there are days when we go to work so I used to work in a warehouse, have a headset on all day. So all I would say is like, yes, no, close, open, it's like, dude, literally just operations, robotic operations. And there would be days I come home, I don't have nobody to talk to. So those would be my only spoken words that day. And it's like, dude, that's fucked up. So like nowadays I wake up, I read my Bible. I didn't do it this morning, but like I'm getting into, let me say, I'm getting into the habit of, that's a habit I want to adopt, is wake up, read my Bible out loud, mind you, because our voice, like that inner stimuli, is really important, I think, too. I think it's great that there's so many Psalms, and like this, because it's like, dude, literally, like the vibrations that we produce when we make music can literally like stabilize certain stuff and we're in your body. I think it's just like a mental thing, because you're focusing your energy to a certain spot, and you're just like, oh, if I hold my body different, like the sound comes out differently and stuff. But yeah,